Oh, hello. Welcome to New York City. A beatdown on a Saturday morning, beautiful day, and no one seems to care as this man is attacked and robbed about 9:30 in the morning on a Saturday in Brooklyn. Crime is out of control here, and most likely in your community or a community near you. Why is this happening? It's obvious. I point my finger at the media and Black Lives Matter, the two of them together. They stigmatized cops, delegitimized cops, and glorified violence. It happened before all of our eyes, and we're living with the results. And it's really sad, and it was all avoidable. It was so refreshing, though, to see Donald Trump walk back into the public eye this weekend. Did you see the big rally in Phoenix? There's a good chance you didn't. Newsmax carried it, but hardly anyone else did. And it's quite frankly hard to find on the internet. They don't want you to hear what he's talking about. And what he's talking about needs to be said.
Joe Biden and the radical Democrats are wrecking our nation. I don't even believe it's him. I honestly don't believe. I don't think Joe knows where the hell he is. You want to know that? I don't think it's him. Crime is surging. Inflation is soaring. The border is gone. We went from the strongest border ever to the weakest border ever. The border is non-existent. Illegal aliens are pouring in record numbers. Critical race theory is being forced into every facet of our society. Free speech is being crushed. Men are being allowed to compete in women's sports. How do you like that?
That is pretty wild, isn't it? So he's all over everything. He gave the women's soccer team a hard time. I think they deserve it. And there was this.
Somebody said that if LeBron James ever decided to get the operation, how would he be? How would he be on the court? And by the way, LeBron James, you can have him.
I think he's talking about a sex change operation. I think that's the operation. I think he would be talking about that. But overall, can you really argue with the president here and what he just outlined about the border and crime? No, this is a solid case he's making. And what about our position on the world stage?
Our infrastructure is being hacked by foreign countries left and right. Thousands of rockets are being fired at Israel. And Joe Biden is allowing America to be pushed around and laughed at all over the world. This didn't happen when I was president. This didn't happen when I was president.
It's true. You can feel it. And we had a different stature internationally with a strong leader. And presence, personality makes a difference. All right. Now, back to some oldies but goodies, but some new material. The president hit Hunter hard.
But what about Hunter Biden getting $500,000 per painting, and he never painted before? Could you imagine if my kids did that? Could you imagine? And now they're justifying it. Well, we want to make it non-transparent. No, actually, you should make it transparent, I guess. But actually, you shouldn't make it at all because it's a bribe. It's a bribe, 100% bribe.
I mean, totally. And there should be universal outrage about this, but it's like a niche little sidebar of a story, if anything, for the mainstream. Also, how about that computer?
And the laptop from hell. It's a laptop from hell. When you look at that laptop, people are writing about it, meaning a very tiny group of people are writing. Some books are coming out, some books by some very good people. But you know what? When you look at the laptop from hell, and then you watch the interview, it was Russia that did his laptop. And then they say, was it Russia? Well, it may have been me. It may have been them. I think that's the end of that one. It's always Russia. Do you ever notice it's never China? Because they're all getting rich from China. They're not getting rich from Russia. It's always Russia. Russia did it. Russia did it again.
All right. So speaking of the laptop, there's something circulating from the laptop. Now, first, Hunter, you probably know by now, had a relationship with his dead brother's widow, Haley. There's Hunter. There's Haley shortly after Bo died, which was very, very sad. You're about to see Hunter on a Zoom call with Haley. And he seems to be smoking crack during the call and arguing.
Well, I think we should discuss that while you're there,
Okay,
yeah.
but why did you call me at 9 o'clock in the morning to tell me that? On the morning that the Marine Dowd article comes out.
I didn't know about Marine Dowd.
Well, you
and
did
I guess
before
I
you
thought
started
that
talking to me,
you
Allie.
wouldn't attack me, that you would be a bit more humble.
I did
but
not
I was
attack
wrong,
you.
and it pissed me off.
I didn't attack you.
Okay, you said I'm going to use against you.
No, I said to you,
And then
Hallie,
you said I haven't
I
been
don't want to
supportive.
give you
That you didn't
information
notice
about
I
this
was being
program
supportive.
because
Okay.
I'm afraid that you'll use it against me as not
Okay,
being enough.
I can't keep talking. We're going to go round and round in
I'm
circles.
not arguing, Hallie. I'm asking you.
Okay, I don't know. I think we should schedule a visit, and we'll talk with the therapist. I'm not going to continue to argue, and I don't want to talk and make things worse. Hello?
It's taking a big hit.
Yeah.
Look, it's sad, but it's true. This stuff happened. The mainstream media, they ignore it. And you see this guy, we know what he was doing for his father. You've heard the allegations. And meanwhile, they were dragging Donald Trump Jr. to Capitol Hill to harass him. They were investigating Eric Trump. These are superb individuals. I know them personally. And this guy, off the hook, that's not fair. Back to the rally.
Like it or not, we are becoming a communist country. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. We are beyond socialism. You know, when you have no press, that you can talk to, that's how a communist country begins. They have no press. We find things in Arizona, and other than a couple of great networks, we have no press. We have no voice.
He's right. You know, this rally, it's huge on a Saturday night. And let's face it, he's a newsmaker. He may run for president. He's basically running the Republican Party, probably more than that. And the next day on the George Stephanopoulos show and all those silly fake Sunday shows, they don't even mention it. They don't even mention it. Talk about a cover-up, huh? A little bit more from the president.
Sadly, even in many red states, the rhinos are letting the radical left have their way on everything. You know that. In fact, I have to say this. In many cases, these weak Republicans or rhinos, these weak Republicans are worse. They're worse than Democrats.
I've heard that time and time again. And during that time, after Election Day, the Republican Party, even during the campaign, so many Republican apparatchiks, people in the party, were not there for him and were actually working against him. What a shame, and how dishonest of them. He wrapped up this way.
And to the devoted citizens all across our country is so much greater than our opponents can even imagine. We are there. We have massive majorities, and we're much stronger than them. Much stronger than them. We're much stronger than they are. Because unlike their agenda, our movement is not driven by the lust for control and domination of others. Our movement is driven by a love for America and an ironclad faith in the American people. I have that faith, and you have that faith. We are not fighting for socialism, communism. We're not fighting for servitude. We're fighting for God, for country, and we're fighting for freedom. We know in our veins that our American inheritance was passed down to us by generations of patriots who gave everything they had, their sweat, their blood, and even their very lives to build America into the most powerful nation in the history of the world. And we are not going to let it be taken away from us by a small group of radical left Marxist maniacs.
Wow, Marxist maniacs. And you know what? I'm not going to argue with that either. Let's take a look, shall we? Who do we have? All right. Nancy, definitely in the maniac category. But think about this. If you think he just went too far there with the maniacs, all these people, they don't have the clout that this person does. This is the moral authority right now of the Democrat Party, AOC, and maniac most certainly applies.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.